All right, guys. Welcome back. A little bit of a long time no see, but not too bad. Getting more frequent on my YouTube game. Okay. Let me actually see when the last video was because I know it's been a little bit of a minute, but not that bad. Okay, 3 weeks. That's not even bad. I've went longer on my YouTube gap. But anyways, welcome to the second video of Hailey Baete is figuring it out loud. So I wanted to give a little life update before I get into what we're going to be talking about today, which I do think it's a good one. Sorry if the setup is a little different than last time. If you're watching it on video, I could not remember everything that I used to set everything up. So might be a little bit different, but that's okay. All right. So where I've been. Okay. So I went back to college full-time away from home. When did I go back? I went back January 18th. Today it is January 29th. Back to school on the 18th, so kind of right after I posted that first video. But yeah, things have been going okay, if we're going to be completely honest. Dealt with a few things already in second semester of freshman year of college that aren't ideal. But we'll talk about all that at a later time because that's going to be a whole thing that we're going to talk about. So, but yeah, college has been okay. It's definitely an adventure. But nothing's perfect, so gotta just push through on that one. Since last video. Started some new classes, obviously, second semester. A snowmageddon hit Kentucky, so have dealt with that at school and now at home since I'm back. But yeah, they canceled school all week this week, so that's why I'm back at home. But yeah, some crazy snow and ice, which I think it was only 48 hours. So I don't know why it was as intense as it was, but I don't know. That's not my field, so I'm not going to speak on that. But yeah, since I will be at college and I still want to post these when I'm not here, I bought a nifty little car mount. So my thought is that I could go there and chat. So we're going to try that out. I haven't tested everything yet, so I don't know if that's actually going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. So yeah, the change of scenery will be coming probably to next video. But yeah, that's all I've got right now as far as changes. But today, it was really weighing on me to talk about kind of a heavy topic, but not really. So last podcast we talked about not necessarily relying on resolutions as a main source of productivity for the new year. We talked about making goals that are gradual and building on themselves instead of just doing a one-off, something that's not going to actually make an impact, but also that you don't have to make an impact right away, that nobody cares. So that was kind of where we left things off last time. So today, as a part of that, I'm going to be talking about accepting and allowing growth. Now, I am not a genius when it comes to growth. I am 18 years old, so take that as you will. But I do feel like I know what I'm talking about because I've been through multiple stages of life as everyone my age. But I also feel like I've lived a few different lives for a variety of reasons. So yeah, I feel like I have somewhat of an idea of what I'm talking about. But I don't know. This has really just been weighing on me because I think that socially there's this tone now, whether it's on social media or just things that I've noticed, like among like my age, things like that, even like a little older than me, is that I don't want to say that, like, what's the right word? We're about to have to look things up again. But I think that I'm buffering. I know what I want to say. I think that there is a little bit of an art when it comes to not taking things personally, if that makes sense. That you're going to have phases of your own life, other people are going to have phases of their own life, and we all coexist, right? Like, that's not that crazy of a concept. But I think that it's really hard, and you have to be really intentional about, while we're all growing at different rates and we're all doing things at different rates and we're all doing different stuff altogether, that just because your path might not line up with someone else's doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. And I feel like there's this notion that just because you may not be in the same phase of life as someone, that you can't find a common ground or maintain a relationship or support one another, even if your lifestyles aren't the same. I don't want to say that, okay, bringing train of thought back on the tracks here. I think that there's this common theme with people who are my age and a little bit older and younger and people way older than me, but whatever. But I notice it because it is as a part of my age range, so that's why I'm talking about it. That if you don't wholeheartedly relate to someone down to the detail, that you just can't have a relationship with them. And I think that, not to be blunt, is kind of ridiculous. Because there's nothing saying that just because somebody might be a little more behind on their pathway of life, that you couldn't give them feedback on what you did when you were in their position, or vice versa. Or say someone is really ahead of you, but they have some different circumstances. There's nothing saying that you can't find common ground. And that goes with social situations, that goes with family situations, that goes with your higher education, or if you don't choose to do higher education, that goes as far as economic things, that goes as far as mental health struggles, that goes with social preference, that goes with dating preference, that goes with religion. It goes with all these different things, and I think that there's no reason that everybody can't find a common ground. And I know that that is obviously a personal opinion of mine, because there are some people, I'm sure, that think that, you want to surround yourself with people who are just like you, and that there's nothing wrong with that. If that's your choice and that's what vibes with you, then do it. But I think that there's real value in prioritizing your own growth, but recognizing that there's growth that can be done by observing other people's. And it's hard. It's especially hard when you're in the age group that I'm in, or older or younger or whatever. But again, because I'm in this age range, this is what I relate to, that you feel a little bit behind on things. That it's like this joke on social media where you like get on Instagram and somebody's engaged, or someone's having a baby, or someone's married. And it's like, it's a little bit different because I am 18, and I'm sure it ramps up a lot when you do get older and you're, early 20s, mid 20s, things like that. And it's hard to not feel competitive. It's just the way that life works, that, say you're not wholeheartedly content in where you are and somebody has what you want, which that happens all the time. That happens like in the smallest of ways, to something like getting married or buying a house or buying an apartment or whatever. But I think that we've gotten away from a little bit that concept that it's really good to support one another. And I mean, I don't think this is a crazy thing to say. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being excited for someone else and being excited for yourself and letting those two things coexist. I don't think there's anything wrong with being proud of yourself while separately being proud of your friend who's ahead of you or behind you or anything. You're coexisting. You're living two parallels of different lives, and some things may overlap and some things may not ever. And I was trying to find this quote on Pinterest because I saved it the other day when I was thinking about this episode, and I just knew it would be perfect. Now, there's no author, there's no poster, there's nothing, okay? And this is very vague, but I'm going to connect the dots here. At this age, you got to realize that everyone has a lot of growing to do. So you either grow together or grow apart. So lo and behold, my camera just died, so we did switch to the phone. So let's just not talk about it, okay? I'm almost done anyways. So we're just not going to talk about it. Anyways, where I left off, okay, before I'm going to freak out. At this age, you got to realize that everyone has a lot of growing to do, so you either grow together or fall apart. That is not the quote. What are you saying? So you either grow together or grow apart. That just really. This had a full boundary when we started. Quote is a really good encapsulation of what I've been talking about, that if you don't find those places to connect with one another, even though you're at a different stage of life or whatever, then it makes sense you're going to grow apart. Or if you want to force a relationship apart, that's really your personal choice. That's not really my vibe unless something happens. But I don't know. I think that this quote really helps put this all into perspective, that there's nothing telling you that just because we're all growing in a different spot, we can't do it together. And again, I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's this expectation that just because you might not be in the same place doesn't mean that's possible. And I think that's ridiculous. And that's just me, which granted, all of this is just me, but this is part of what I've been talking about of we're figuring it all out together. And, I'm not going to be the person that says, well, if you don't grow on the same path with someone, then your relationship isn't even good if it's just, you all just checking in. I don't care. Like, that's not up to me. So I'm not going to make it up to me. But there's nothing wrong with saying, I respect this about you. I hope you respect this about me, because we're going to have that mutual respect in relationship. So we're going to learn from each other. I think that's okay. I think that's really okay. Which this isn't to say that there's not going to be relationships where whoever you're with won't support your growth. And in that case, like I said, If something happens and you need to make that conscious decision that it's not for your best interest to grow alongside them, then by all means. But there's no rule that says just because you're pursuing something or someone else is pursuing something, you have to cut off communication, that you need to go a completely different route and pull a 180 and just act like it never happened. That's not. If you want to make that rule for your own life, then do it. But nothing says that that's how things have to be, ever. Anyways, but that was what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted it to be a little bit shorter than last time, just since we weren't talking about as much. But I wanted to take the time to talk about that because, as someone who I feel like I know what this looks like to have your life go a different route, or you have a situation work out like you didn't expect it to, or an opportunity falls short, or anything like that, that unless it is necessary for you to remove yourself from a relationship for everyone's best interest, there's nothing that says you have to. And I personally would love to see this kind of social shift that we're in right now change. That there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, she's doing this, they're doing that, he's doing this. I'm going to respect it and nothing has to change. If anything, I'm going to support them through that. And I think that should be okay. And I would love to see that be socially okay. But right now, I don't know that's where we're at. And I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Maybe that there's someone listening to this and you don't relate to what I'm saying and you think that you grow best when you're around people who are growing in the same way. So why would you not maximize that and only have yourself be around those people who are living similar lives to you? I understand that. I completely understand that. I see how you would get there. But as someone who is also simultaneously realizing, this is where I'm at in my college experience. This is where someone else is at in their college experience. Here's where I am socially. Here's where I am family wise. Here's where I am, all this stuff. I don't think it would hurt. But I wanted to give the update on today that things might be changing view-wise, even though they changed today. Whatever. And that things are changing for me personally. Yeah, I hope you all liked this video. I hope you were able to get something from what I was talking about today. And yeah, if you all have any suggestions, feel free to comment them, or my social media should be linked so you can message me. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with growing. There's nothing wrong with unintentional growth. There's nothing wrong with intentional growth. And there's nothing wrong with growing alongside people who aren't, or aren't doing it in the same way as you, or are growing in a different direction. And I think it can be important to get a unique perspective instead of drawing that line in the sand of here's you and here's me and we can't coexist. But thank you all so much for watching and tuning in for the second episode of Hailey Baete is Figuring It Out Loud. If you're watching this on YouTube, go check it out on Spotify. If you're watching it on Spotify, go check out the YouTube page. At some point, there will be new vlogs coming soon, but still figuring everything out. But yeah, I hope you all have had a great January and a great start to 2026. And whether you're making goals for yourself or not, that's okay. Whether you want to make goals or you don't, that's fine too. And don't remember to make your, don't, what? Don't forget to make yourself a priority in your life. even if you're prioritizing other people too. So take care of yourself. You're awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next one.